36 holes down, 36 to go at the Country Club in Brookline, Massachusetts, and a pair of Americans sit atop the leaderboard. Two-time major champ Collin Morikawa and 34-year-old Jon Rahm lead the field at 5 under par. Morikawa looking to add to the U.S. Open, his PGA Championship win in 2020 and his Open Championship title in 2021. And here is a look at the leaderboard through 2 rounds in Brookline. And there's Morikawa and Rahm there at the top, but following shortly behind a couple of former world number ones, Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy. Also have current world number one, Scottie Scheffler, the reigning Masters champion. They're just 2 strokes off the lead. And we've got some notable names who failed to make the weekend, and they include Phil Mickelson, who's finished second more times than anyone at the U.S. Open, but Lefty's week is done after a couple of abysmal rounds in Brookline. Tony Finau, who had a fine run at the Canadian Open last week, also out after going 5 over through his 2 rounds. And it's time now to welcome in Rick Gehman and Kyle Porter, who join us from the Country Club just outside Boston. Hey guys, a U.S. heavy leaderboard as we head into the weekend. We've got Morikawa and Rahm. What have they been able to do better than anyone else through 2 rounds at the Open?
Yeah, it's really a tremendous leaderboard, Rick. I mean, you've got Morikawa and Rahm at the top, and then they're followed by other top 10 guys like Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, Scottie Scheffler. For me, Morikawa has putted better than he normally does, but he's also, we've talked about this all week. I'm shocked by how consistently he's hit this kind of new draw that he's hitting with his irons. He's kind of said all week, like, I can't hit a fade, I can't hit a fade, I can't hit a fade, and yet he leads the United States Open after 36 holes. How surprised are you by that?
Quite surprised, considering that's the go-to shot that he was so successful with for the early part of his young career. But this leaderboard is just so deep. And for Collin Morikawa to try to put himself kind of in a different place historically with 36 more holes to go, this could be the 3rd leg of the career Grand Slam for him. And it's not going to be easy. Jon Rahm's going to try to chase him down, Rory McIlroy lurking, and then a couple of surprises. So this is, as we head into the weekend with half the field, going to be something I cannot wait.
Yeah, you guys mentioned that the chase pack is pretty big too. A couple former world number ones, both guys who've won the U.S. Open in the past. We're talking about Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy. We'll get to the 2011 champ in a second. First, though, let's talk about Rahm. What is it about the Spaniard's game that's working so well in this layout?
Well, he's driving the ball great. I mean, he's driven the ball great all year. We've talked about this again. That's not been the problem for him. The problem has been kind of everything else dropped off just a little bit. Not a ton, but it dropped off a little bit. And when your short game drops off a little bit, you're unable to score as well. That's picked back up in recent days. And he's hitting his irons better than he has in a while. He had a shot today on it wasn't 8 over here, but it was on 14. From like 270, he had this iron in and hit it to probably 10 or 12 feet, made eagle there. It's the type of shot that only 10 guys in the world can hit, maybe only 7 guys in the world can hit. So I've been impressed with his ability to hit approach shots at this golf course that not a lot of guys have in their bag.
Yeah, I loved he was playing with Collin Morikawa. Those guys kind of going back and forth all day long. Anything you can do, I can do better. The stat profile that we saw from Jon Rahm on Thursday was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We came on here and said this is the key, and he did it again on Friday and added in rolling the ball on the putting surfaces. So that's a really scary thought when you get to the weekend of a U.S. Open where we expect total driving to take over. We expect this thing to get firm and fast, and it's going to be a battle of attrition. And for the guy who's our reigning champion, certainly knows how to get it done here.
Yeah, and then you got Rory McIlroy. Back in 2011, I had a firsthand look at Rory pretty much lapping the field at Congressional. It's not going to happen this year in that way if he's going to win it, but how much of a threat is Rory right now based on how he's playing, coming off a win in Canada?
Yeah, he wasn't as sharp with his game, obviously, on Friday as he was on Thursday, but I thought he showed something that you need at a U.S. Open, which is a ton of fight. He could have kind of spiraled out of control, shot a 72 today, taken himself out of it, and he didn't. He fought back. He got it back under par. He got it within striking distance obviously, of the lead. I talked to him a little bit after the round, Rick, and I asked him, like, are you able to play with freedom at a U.S. Open? Because this is a golf course that we were just talking about it. It's so difficult. And even though it's not that long, it's just extraordinarily tough because of the greens. And he said, I feel like for the first time in a long time, I am able to play with freedom at a U.S. Open. And I kind of asked him why. And he said, well, I just have more confidence in my game. I'm playing better than I have in quite a while. Even going back to 2019 when he won the Players' Championship, he said he feels better even than that spring and summer. So I'm excited to see what he has for the weekend. He's chasing 3 guys well, I guess he's ahead of Scheffler, but he's got 3 guys up there with him. Scheffler, Morikawa, and Rahm that are all about 6 years younger than him, kind of at that age where he was winning a ton of major championships. And I'm interested to see if he can kind of hold them off. Well, first of all, run them down and then hold them off going into Sunday. I think that, for me, is the story of the weekend.
Yeah, Rory always does this thing where he posts a score and you think that could have been 2 or 3 shots better. If I would have told you that on Thursday, he'd get so frustrated that he'd do some major sand removal from a bunker. And if I told you that on Friday, he'd whiff 2 greenside in the fescue and he would still be in the mix 1 shot off the lead. Like that would be a pretty incredible story. So I think it helps illustrate the fact that Rory McIlroy, despite a couple of bad shots here and there, a couple of frustrated moments, that he's been able to kind of rein it all in and still keep himself in the mix. Now, I'm interested to see how he putts on the weekends because he is gaining a ton of strokes putting. It's probably been the best club in his bag, or at least the most valuable club in his bag this week. It is usually hard to sustain that for 4 rounds, but he's at the halfway point. Only two more to go.
Well, as is the case at just about every major, there are some notable names who won't be playing on the weekend. Most notably, Phil Mickelson, 11 over through 2 rounds. I mean, that's just not going to cut it. Can we just say the quiet part out loud here? Maybe it wasn't the best idea, considering things for lefty to have even been there in Boston this week.
Well, it's an interesting question. I don't know that he had a choice if he's playing in this LIV Golf League. He is playing in this LIV Golf League. It would have been kind of a bad look to just not play the U.S. Open, and it would have isolated the LIV Golf League even more than it already is. When he says his goal is to grow golf, to unify it, I don't know if I actually believe any of that, but I think you at least have to play the U.S. Open to even if it's a facade, to kind of show that you mean what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it would have actually created a situation where now it's almost like a precedent for these guys not to play major championships, which would have been a slippery slope. But even when Phil Mickelson's been at his best, the concern has always been how accurate is the driver, and it's probably why this is the one that has gotten away from him so many times that you can't play out of the rough. You can't play out of the rough at a U.S. Open. You can't play out of the rough at the Country Club. He's not alone in some of the notables. Victor Hovland, who was 2 under early and inside the top 5, bogeyed 9 of his last 11 coming in and missed the cut. And it goes to show that even the best players in the world are capable of death by paper cut around the Country Club.
It was Hovland and then also Cam Smith, and I think the common thread between those 2 guys, I think they're probably the 2 best guys to miss the cut, is their games have a flaw. They have a fatal flaw, right? Like they have a big hole in their games. For Cam Smith, he can get wild off the tee, and for Hovland, it's some of his play around the green. And I think you're seeing a golf course that's testing every facet of your game. And if you have one hole, you're gonna be going home on Friday night like some of these guys.
Well, guys, 15 players are within 3 strokes of the lead entering the weekend. So you aren't wanting for options here. Rick, coming to you first. Who's lifting the trophy Sunday evening?
I think it's Jon Rahm. Well, the caveat is it's going to be awesome no matter who wins it. But I think that Jon Rahm, from what I've seen through 2 rounds, and I bend the knee to the data. I love to look at the stats. It's just the best stat profile. Yes, Rory is in the mix, and I trust Rory to get the job done. I think he's a bit too reliant on the putter through 2 rounds. And Scotty Scheffler, the best player in the world, or at least by world ranking, is lurking. But Jon Rahm has the total package. Jon Rahm has the hands that I trust around the greens. I know he's going to be one of the best drivers of the golf ball the rest of the way. I think Rahm is going to successfully defend his title.
I'm gonna regret this, but I'm gonna take Rory. I told myself I wouldn't fall for it. I've fallen for it. He just, I don't know. Even talking to him afterwards, he kind of got up and just looked you in the eye. He was just fired up about like how he's playing right now. That doesn't mean you're gonna go out and shoot 68-68 on Saturday, Sunday, but He's hitting drive. I mean, he was mashing driver at the end of his round today. And if he gives himself enough looks, the putter is, I mean, it's on fire. I'm with you. Can we trust that? I don't know. I think we kind of can. He's a good putter, but he's putting great this week. So I don't know. Maybe it's more my emotions getting the best of me, but I think it would be really fun to see Rory win what would be his 5th major championship. But, you know, he said after his round on Friday that it feels like it's almost going to feel like his first, which I thought was an interesting way to kind of think about going about winning this U.S. Open at Brookline.
The U.S. Open, they call it the toughest test in golf. I don't know if it's necessarily the toughest job for Kyle Porter and Rick Gehman to be out there reporting back to us, but we are certainly glad that you two are doing it with us. We'll see you over the weekend, guys. And for more on the U.S. Open and everything on the links, be sure to check out the First Cut podcast with Rick Gehman and Kyle Porter. They'll keep you in the know with tournament previews, picks, deep dives into the players, and much, much more. Download and subscribe to the First Cut podcast.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.